This is for the Marcus Monk right there. Marcus Monk. Here you go. Oh, look at there. It's going to be a long shot. Of Marcus Monk. All right. This is for the Jamal Anderson. Very beautiful chrome or foil, whatever you want to call it. Colin Abbott. That's a first-time winner. Legendary status. We got 2 spins. Here's number 1, Jarius Wright. Who's going to get it? Oh, Mac, sir. And so now we got to give someone else a shot. Peyton Hillis, autographed. Here it is. Oh, Cameron Gray. All right, here we go. Here we go, baby. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. ASN, Facebook. I believe this is our first time live on your page as well. So if you guys are watching this over on ASN, welcome. Make sure you come over to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Those of you who are in the live chat for YouTube, you know the deal. You guys are OGs, most of you. You also like, share, and subscribe. I mean, those of you who are actually new, hit the subscribe button. All right. We got a little bit to talk about. We need to talk about the defensive line. What we've seen through 7 days of fall camp, right? We got a scrimmage tomorrow. Now, I don't actually have the exact time of the scrimmage, but this is a big one. This is a big deal. This will be we're going to talk to Sam tomorrow. He's going to talk to the media, so we're going to get caught up on that. We also had some interesting basketball. Something popped up about John L. Davis and Jonas Aidoo, so I figured we would probably also bring them up as well. But before we do, shout out to Patreon supporters for the month of July. We crushed it in the month of July. My goodness. I appreciate all of you guys. Over 100 total Patreon supporters. Man, that is excellent. Excellent. I love it. So shout out to you guys. You help keep this ship afloat. Also, shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Better than best results, man. Better than best results. Free estimates. Give them a call. All right? 501-244-3667. Again, that's 501-244-3667 to get a hold of Direct Service Overhead for your garage door. And the pulley system, the whole thing. They are experts. Also, Insurance Max, the other sponsor to this awesome awesome group of people that help keep this whole thing afloat. Like I mentioned, not only DSO but also our Insurance Max, business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement. They shop the best rates for you. They cover all 4 corners of the state of Arkansas. All 4 corners. They ought to turn that into a jingle. I'll sing it for them. I won't charge them a dime. All 4 corners of our natural state, Arkansas. Ooh. I think that's fire. I think we could do something. Get with me, Wes. We'll figure something out. All right, if you guys have any questions or comments, I've never done a dual stream before. Not just with me here in the the studio / garage. I've never actually done a dual stream. So I'm going to try and keep up with both. I think we'll be fine on both pages. But yeah. By the way, for those of you on ASN who are watching this on Facebook, whether you're here live or after the fact, please share the page. And if you're new to ASN, make sure you like and share them as well. All right. We'll get started off with with probably the coolest little bit of news here. This is from right there. It is on your screen. This is the top 25. The top 25 transfers, and of course, the page that's responsible for it is not on my Twitter page anymore. It was Field of 64 is who posted it. And if you're not familiar with them, you should be. Really good content. They have a YouTube channel. You can follow them on Twitter. But that's their top transfers, impact transfers right there on your screen. Look who's number one, baby. Look who's number one. I'm not worried about 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I'm looking at number one. Nelly Davis. Number one, according to the Field of 64. And Jonas Aidoo also makes that list at number 23. So, could they have added, am I a little bit surprised they didn't add maybe, I don't know, I want to say DJ Wagner. You kind of go down this whole list, right? Zvonimir's not there yet. Someone actually sent me that, and he goes, I'm surprised Zvonimir's not on there. No, Zvonimir, we just haven't seen enough of him yet. His ceiling, God only knows, for Big Z, the forward out of Kentucky. But you've got so many players on this list. DJ Wagner should probably be on there. I would vote. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, I guess. But there you go. This roster stacked. A lot of folks believe this is a top 3 SEC roster in for Arkansas, for Coach Cal, for his year 1 at Arkansas. So, again, that's Field of 64 if you're looking at it on the screen there. What's up, Drooby Dooby Doo? How you doing, man? What's going on? How's it going? Again, if you guys have any questions or comments, please fire away. I'll do my best to answer them, especially if they retain if it's for football, for fall camp. We're going to cover all that. By the way, on ASN, over on their Facebook page, you guys need to go get signed up for this really sweet igloo. Check that bad boy out. The thing is awesome. There are instructions. It's on Facebook. Scroll down just a little bit. All you got to do is you got to screenshot that you're a subscriber to Tusk Talk, and then you just post over there on that. Not just to them. You got to do it on that post. So there you go. Look at that bad boy. Isn't that sweet? That holds a lot of old cold beer. Congrats to the card winners, by the way. We played that video at the beginning. I probably put that thing together pretty quick. I just needed something to show you guys who won, and it's also another way to get the word out, hey, you won a card, or if you did win, there you are on video. That way you could confirm. But we did that. When did we do that? 2 days ago when we did the spin? You don't have to be there. Don't worry about being there. Don't freak out if you're not there live. Again, I'll message you. I'll email you, whatever. I'll get a hold of you one way or another. We're still waiting on Colin Abbott, by the way. Colin Abbott, who won the Jamal Anderson Chrome card. So, again, you look at the rest of this roster. Right there it is on your screen. Goodness. Boogie Fland. Is he going to hold down the point? Is he going to be the point guard? Is he going to be an impact freshman? Aidoo Thero, there's another guy. Not enough people are talking about Thero. I mean, we can go down the list, right? Carter Knox, Billy Richmond, and of course, Trevon Brazile, who's coming back. I don't know. I think that's a legit. Combing over the rest of the SEC, I'm no Blake Level from Southeastern 14, but they need to change their name, don't they? Have they changed their name yet? Are they Southeastern? Have they expanded on their name? But I need to get Blake Level on again. I will. He's been on the show multiple times. He's a friend of the show. But he and I have talked enough. He feels the same. This is a legit top 3, at worst top 5 roster in the SEC Cal has put together. And it's a good mix, too, and that's what I love about it, you know? That's what I love about this. It's a mix of true freshmen. You've got Nelly, who's a super senior. You're going to have Kareem Watkins, who's, I don't know what, don't ask me what he's going to be responsible for this year, but, he is an upperclassman. Brazil, who's been around for a minute, he's going into his junior year. Thero, his junior year. Aidoo's going to be a senior. And then you've got these awesome freshmen coming in. They're going to knock the door down maybe. I don't know. You guys tell me. I think it's a pretty fantastic roster. Drooby Dooby Doo Show, what's going on? Preacher Armstrong, how are you? Hope all's well. Is Tisla even still a starter? Been seeing some absolute studs in camp. There's been some awesome footage uploaded. There absolutely has. There's been some really cool stuff posted. I posted this Centennia grab. I've got footage of some other players that I'm just trying to get as much as I can at camp so I could put it all together and throw a video out there. I've got a bunch of Armstrong videos. I've got a little bit of Broden, which we already released the Broden. We did the Tisla video, the YouTube short. And there's some more. I want to get some more of Talon Green throwing. Unfortunately, by the time they let us in to come in and film and get pictures and whatever and view practice, they're already like 2 snaps into their first to the ones in fastball. So, in fact, what I recorded today is really just me standing at the opposite end zone, just filming what I can, Tisla has honestly had, I think, a quietly a good camp. And it's hard for me to say that any receiver – I mean, there's a couple of guys that are dropping balls, but, like, your first 7 days of camp, that's to be expected, right? No one expects them to walk in there and just be ready to go. It takes them a little bit. Uh-oh. There it is. Okay. I was about to say I just lost my topics page here. All right. Let's start off with the defensive line since we're getting into fall camp. By the way, I don't expect this to be a long live show. It might be – we might hit 30, 35, 40 minutes. I don't know. I always say that, I know, and then I end up going over. But I got a couple of kids that are really hungry, clawing at the door. So, and I'm kind of hungry myself. And we're just kind of getting into the important stuff really starts tomorrow, right? Now, tomorrow is their scrimmage. And tomorrow it is closed off to the media. We're not going to get access to anything. Media is not permitted. We're not going to be there. However, we're going to get a chance to talk to Sam. I don't know if they're going to send us – I'm assuming they're going to post stats somewhere. They may not. It may just be Pittman talking about kind of what transpired tomorrow. But tomorrow is very important. Defensive line depth chart. The defensive line, are they having – is there issues here with depth? Now, this is a question I've had – maybe I said something on my last live show. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. It might have been something I said I'm if I'm not on Mark Rogers, I'm talking to my Patreon or I'm talking to Discord, doing live shows in there. Typically it's our XP wheel spins, and sometimes I flap my jaws. It could just be something someone else is saying somewhere else. I don't know. But I had someone ask me about what is going on with the defensive line. I've said since spring camp, I am concerned, even going into spring camp and coming out of it, I don't know what to make of the defensive line. I think the starting bunch could be a really good bunch. And we're going to get into the injuries because some of that might impact what's going on with the defensive line. We know they're going to have this buck position. You know, it's going to be a little bit different look. I still think it's going to be more of a multiple look up front on the defensive line. But we did get to hear from Deke Adams today. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to make that Zoom call with Coach Adams, but I do have I've got the notes here in front of me and what was asked. Now, first off, let's get into, and we're talking about really when I say the D-line, what I should have said, interior defensive line. I've got some questions about the interior part of the defensive line, but let's just go ahead and take let's start off with the two freshmen, Charlie Collins and Kavion Henderson. Let's start there, even though I want to be more focused on the interior part. Let's talk about all of it, right? Or at least the parts that he addressed and what he said. I'm not going to read over everything. But he was asked about his thoughts on Charlie Collins and Kavion Henderson. His response is they're workers. That's the biggest thing that stands out. When you get a young kid, a freshman comes in, a lot of times they want to shy away and jump to the back of the line and let the older guys take over. These two kids, they jump in front of the line and they get in the middle of the older guys, and they're workers. They really work hard, and they have a lot of development to come along. They've got to get stronger, obviously, put on some more weight. All that stuff, that's got to happen. But the hunger to play the game and learn the system and to be in the midst and not shy around the older guys, he says, they're just one of the guys right now. That's really good to hear because that is true. I've seen it with my own eyes. You see the freshmen. Listen, I bring this up so often. I played a little ball back in the day, right? Going all the way back to Jefferson Elementary, Jaguars, baby, the 3Ds. I played center in flag football. We had a little play. It may not have been legal, but by God, we got away with it, called the center pass. Touchdowns all day to this guy right here, number 51. But as you get older, and obviously you get into, then you go to Ramey. I went to Ramey Junior High. And when you get around the older, more experienced guys, you shy away. I remember that feeling. Oh, my God, these guys are huge. They've got beards for crying out loud, and they got a thing of dip in their mouth. What the hell's going on? Whoa. And you see that, and of course, moving on to eventually I would go to Fayetteville High. Same thing, right? You get amongst those upperclassmen. We had Michael Brizell, who played tackle at Fayetteville. He went on to play college and beyond that. Michael Brizell. Of course, that was during the Clark brothers era and all that. Being around those guys, this is terrifying. These guys are men. At least they have the bodies. I mean, they look like fully grown men. These guys are terrifying. Think about being 18, 19 years old, going to an SEC program, being around these guys, and for these two to jump in. Now, I've watched the defensive line a little bit. Not a lot. Not enough. I don't think I even have much footage. But I have heard other people discuss this and talk about these guys, their willingness to be physical. Charlie Collins and Kavion Henderson again. So these are two guys that aren't shying away, and that's a big deal. I'm going to tell you right now, especially think about who's on that defensive line. Think about the experience. Think about the potential when you talk about someone like Landon Jackson, potential NFL. That's a potential NFL prospect. And these two guys are like, no, we want in. I don't know. I think that's a big deal. I think that's huge. Again, and I know plenty of you probably play any kind of sport. It doesn't have to be football. It could be water polo. When you've got a youngster who's hungry, goes in there, and they want to be in the middle of all that, that's pretty awesome. Now, I don't want to skip ahead to injuries, so I'm going to skip this next part. We'll get to the injury part here in just a second. How big is it having Eric Gregory back for a sixth season? Yeah, that's right. Super senior Eric Gregory. It's been great. I love having him back. I want him back. It's kind of a joke in the room. Coach Pitt might bring up when he first got here and things like that. He asked guys, raise your hand. Who was in here when I first got here? Gregory might be one of maybe two or three that's in the room and was actually here when Pittman first got here. But Eric is such a mature kid. He's very, very quiet, doesn't say a whole lot. He just works. Yeah, it is good. It is nice having that back. And again, you're talking about, when I say depth, obviously we're not talking about Eric Gregory. We're not talking about Cam Little. We're not talking about Jackson. Depth is the guys behind those names. And he was also asked about Gregory being underrated. What makes him so valuable? Everything. He brings a lot of maturity to the room. Deke Adams. Again, this is from Deke Adams. When there's time to open his mouth and take control of the room, he does that, understanding every position up front. He knows that he plays at a high level, plays physical. I mean, everything he brings to the table has been great for us in our room. Yeah, I mean, you cannot express having someone like that back is just it's nice. And it's not just a 6th-year guy where you're just like, whatever. Maybe he'll be in the 2 deep. No, he's a legit starter, has started, and he's an SEC. I would argue that defensive line is SEC worthy. And we saw what these guys were capable of. I think we got a taste last year. Hopefully they can grow on what they did a year ago. Now, of course, you're missing some pieces on the defense as a whole, but and then he was asked about Landon. How can he improve, be more consistent? Just requiring him, and again, this is from Deke Adams, just requiring him to do all the little things. He's such a hard worker when you turn the film on and see how hard he plays and how physical he plays. But being consistent in all the little things that comes with being a defensive lineman. He's such a great player. He studies a lot. He knows a lot. He's very smart, understands the game. But the little things of taking the right steps, of being in the right place at the right time, putting your eyes or transitioning your eyes to where they're supposed to be, all the little things I think will elevate his game, I think, to another level. So we know last year, and we've talked about this so many times, but after the Alabama game where he just was a problem, he was a problem for Alabama. He had, what was it, like 3 sacks or something. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, he had a great game. His and if I remember right, his PFF grade jumped. Kiper puts him as the first edge rusher on his list. Had him as a legit first-round prospect. Now, after about, I want to say 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, he dropped. He kept dropping, and then eventually he dropped out of the first round. So it is a big deal to get someone like that back. That's a real big deal. I think Cam Ball and Eric Gregory, this is from Josh Farmer, are going to be really are going to really break out this year. This is Josh Farmer. This team seems so much close-knit than last year's team. Well, yeah. Yeah. So let's get into, does the defensive line really have depth? Does it have quality depth? We just kind of went over some of what Deke had to say. Actually, I do want to point out one more thing that he was asked about. Minimum of defensive tackles you need to have ready. Can Danny Saili make rotation? This is very important because this is the thing I've been talking about since going into spring camp. Once they really opened up the portal, started grabbing guys back in December, started throwing out offers, going through, February and whatnot, really going after what they could at the time. And I kept saying, please, God, get more defensive linemen. Get more on both sides of the ball, because I'm telling you, the offensive line, we may have to do a video on them next. I don't know what to make of their true depth inside. But this is, again, he's asked of the defensive tackles. Number of defensive tackles you need to have ready. He says, I don't know if there's a certain number because I'm going to play who's ready to play. I think it's really hard in this league to ask a guy to go out and get 60 or 70 snaps at the level you want them to play. We have a room full of guys right now. I say a room full of guys. We have a good number of guys, probably 5 guys right now that we feel comfortable with. Danny's got a lot of growing to do, and again, he's talking about Saili. Danny's got a lot of growing still to do. He transferred in from another university, but he was only there with him for a semester, which is yep. So it wasn't like he really got into the college mode because he was coming out of junior college at that point. So he's still got a lot of growing to do, and he's doing a good job. Which let's see, hold on. We just expect him to continue to get better. Yeah, I if they could get him into that rotation, maybe he is. I think he's ran a little bit with the threes. Again, I haven't paid a lot of attention in Indy. In Indy is their, you've got your defensive line, you got your linebackers, running backs, quarterbacks, tight ends, offensive line, then receivers on the opposite side of the field. And then you got special teams on the other side, on the opposite field. So I haven't hung out enough with the defensive line, but thinking back to spring, again, I came out of spring camp. One of my concerns, I told Patreon supporters this first, I do have concerns. So when looking at the depth chart, or I say the depth chart. We don't have an official depth chart. Not yet anyways. I'm trying to pull it up here. When you look at the starting defensive linemen, okay, Eric Gregory, Cam Ball. Now, Nico's going to be interesting. I mean, I still think he's going to win that starting job, especially with what's going on with Jukic. But Nico's interesting because he's 6'4", 275, and a frame to add more weight. It's obviously you're a little late now. You can't add weight onto. I mean, I say you can't. You can, but you have to condition to that weight. And this, I seem to remember this being a topic of discussion with him a couple of years ago about him maybe putting on some more weight and moving to the inside. But he is athletic enough. He belongs outside. 6'4", 271 pounds at the end spot. But again, we're talking about the defensive tackles. He's saying he's got 5 guys. Eric Gregory, Cam Ball. Those are 2 guys. For sure, I agree. Those are guys I think would start at several other SEC schools, maybe minus the top of the top, right? Maybe 3 or 4 schools. But I think they would either start or push to start at several other schools in the SEC. For sure, at least 50%. At least 50% of them. Absolutely. I like those 2 guys a lot. And then you get to the second team, which, again, these are the guys just based on recent fastball, depth chart, just based on what we have jotted down and what I've got. Kyvie Rose and Ian Jaffrard. Now, those are 2 big options, right? Kyvie is 6'3", 315, 314. He's a super senior. Ian Jaffrard is a redshirt freshman at 6'5", 388. And then next to those guys at the end spot, we saw Charlie Collins and Quincy Rhodes at the other spot. Quincy's huge. Him and Landon Jackson, oh my gosh. I mean, he's bigger. He's thicker than Landon Jackson. He's 280-plus pounds. So Kyvie Rose and Ian Jaffrard. Let's go to the next line. And this is where he says he's got 5. Saley's got to be in that group because then behind him you've got like Caleb James. And really that's about it. I mean, let's be real. That's about it unless I'm probably missing someone off the top of my head, but that's really about it that I've seen through fastball through 7 days. A lot could change. We still got a long ways to go, even though we have football in the month of August. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. If you're new, make sure you subscribe button. All the people from ASN, come on over to Tusk Talk with Ty on YouTube, and also check out the Discord. I'm excited for Broden breakout year. You guys don't wind me up. Don't wind me up about Broden. Don't do it because I could go on. And the same about Armstrong and the same about Centennial. Like, hold on. We're still on the defensive line. So, again, I would, based on what I've seen through 7 days, I wouldn't say it's hard. It's too early to say whether or not I'm concerned, if I'm still as concerned as I was going into spring camp. We kind of knew based on just the conversations and talking to other media people, we kind of knew that this is where they were headed, especially if they didn't add more names out of the portal. Now, I really feel like looking at these names, one of the guys I think if he comes through, and I don't know that he will or not, he's really heavy. He's 388 pounds. And it's going to be hard for him to come in and have an impact where he's a guy that could come in the second half and dominate. I don't know, when you watch conditioning, that's something you really need to look at with these bigger guys, with these guys that are over 315, 320 pounds. And you're talking about Ian Jaffrard, who's 6'5", 388. And there's someone who thinks he might actually be closer to 6'6". It might be pushing 400 pounds. I don't know. He's lost weight. I think he shed a little bit of weight. But Ian Jaffrard, a redshirt freshman, could be pivotal. Him and Kyvie Rose both. If these four guys lock down the one and the two, just talking about the rotation, you're not – defensive linemen, interior D linemen don't play 75-plus, hell, 60-plus plays. They don't. Their play amount has dropped, or they're slimming these guys down at other schools so they can play a little bit longer, which is tricky to do because you got to keep that strength and play with a certain level of physicality, especially in the SEC. If these starting four defensive linemen, defensive tackles, I should say, Cam Ball, Eric Gregory, and Kyvie Rose and Ian Jaffrard, if these guys can anchor the defensive line, you won't really need to worry about having 5, 6, 7. I mean, yeah, you always want more guys. If someone gets banged up, yes, I agree. You're gonna need maybe Danny Saili. Caleb James is just too small for me. I'm sorry, 6'4", 270 pounds. James, I kind of thought maybe they would kick him out. Maybe they still will. And someone brought up, is that maybe we should be concerned because Caleb James is in the mix at 270 pounds. I don't think so. He is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think put him in the right position, develop him there. I just don't know if he's an interior SEC guy. I could be wrong, but I really think he needs to pack on some weight. So, again, the question, through 7 days of camp, there's just not enough to say whether or not they really have a depth chart issue or not. I would say probably, but if the four names that we just mentioned, if they hold up their end of the weight, again, you may not be as concerned. So it's really a to be continued, right? It's TBC, man. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know how long these guys can play, how good they're going to be. Can they keep that same motor from, of course they're not going to be as good as the first play from the line of scrimmage, but can they keep a high motor through most of the game and not get worn down too quickly? And that's where conditioning matters. That's where conditioning matters, man. That's why playing in this heat or practicing in this heat, it's tough on them. You just stay hydrated, right? Get plenty of sleep. And enjoy camp and get conditioned to play. And that's what these four guys need to be doing. Beyond that, my gut tells me that, yeah, there's probably a little bit of concern. But again, we're 7 days in. Let's talk the week of UAPB, right? Let's talk the week of Oklahoma State. SEC play. Let's see where they're at. But those four guys, if they could rock and roll, it could be a lot of fun to watch. I'll just say that. Hey, gang, great work, Ty. Keep singing that hog info. I appreciate it. Tim B, what's going on, man? Coming to Springdale September 12th. Going to be at the UAB game. Excited to see Petrino back. Can't wait to be back in Arkansas. Woo pig. All right. Matt says we got some sizable humans on the interior. Hope they come along. Yeah. I think they will. And again, it's development of those guys, of the youngsters. And then, of course, like I said, they're going to utilize a multiple front look, right? And they're going to try and take a little bit off these interior guys. You're going to play against some offenses that wear you down. They're going to run up the gut. Not that everyone does that like they used to, but you're going to see some between the tackle runs, right? You're going to see some guard center runs right up that gap. Right up the middle. They're going to wear you down, especially if they know that they can, if they know that you're a little thin up front. Through 7 days of camp, I don't know that there's any one thing that really stands out to me that I haven't already kind of talked about. Broden, even though I think today he was not in fastball today, I don't think he was injured. He participated with everything but fastball as far as I know. But Broden, like I said on the last live, has just been turning heads. Teslaw, I'm going to say this much. I see these guys, and I have so much spring footage, and I try to go back and watch as much as I can. I mean, you guys should see my phone, my library of photos. It's ridiculous. These receivers look to me like they're getting better separation. I will say that. They look to be getting a little bit better separation. And Teslaw is one I've seen. I'm not saying he's faster. Hell, I don't know. He might still be a 4.65, whatever. I don't know what his 40 is. Again, there's a difference between just having speed and the ability to create separation if you're a wide receiver or tight end for that matter if you're running a route. I feel like they are. I feel like the receivers have taken that step where they're getting more and more separation. We saw a little bit of that through spring camp. Plenty of footage. I've uploaded some of it on either Twitter or on the YouTube, on Tusk Talk YouTube, on the shorts. But they do look to me like, the receivers to me look like they are creating a little bit more separation. Now, that could also be something to do with the matchups, right? Like that Twitter video that I uploaded, I guess yesterday, right? That's him matched up with Braxton. We know what kind of freshman campaign he had. This dude stood out, and Centennial made him look silly. Now, I wouldn't say that's all the evidence you need because you need to see that over and over and over. And I am starting to see that a little bit. Desmond James, name a receiver. Like, I feel like they're all taking right steps in the right direction. I have to look at who is the one? Monty Harrison. That's the guy that played a little bit of Major League Baseball. He's one that probably is going to need a lot of work. I'm not a master of route, I'm not a route doctor. I couldn't tell you he ran that route so smooth, but I could tell you I don't see a lot when I have seen him play. He just looks kind of like what you'd expect. He needs conditioning. I shouldn't say conditioning. He needs development, right? He needs to get back into the thick of it, and I'm sure he will. Desmond James. Where's the other one? Where are you at? Davion Dozier has had some pretty good moments. Again, you're seeing these guys. I mean, look at Broden. Broden, to me, looks... he makes it look so easy. I don't think I've seen him drop a ball in one-on-ones or fastball. I don't think I've seen him drop a single pass. And I said this in spring camp. I said, this dude looks like a star. He looks like he is all that, man. And I've gotten a little bit of pushback on that. And yet we're still talking about the guy. Now, that's all got to happen on the field, right? The offensive line, the one thing that stood out to me a little bit as far as I don't know what's happening here, if I could find it. It is the twos that ran with the twos. I have it noted here. Marion Harris, Brooks Edmondson, Tim Don at center, Crawford at guard. I think Crawford's a quality backup. And Blackstock ran with the twos. We know he missed a little bit. I'm just going to tell you I don't think that's a real strong group of twos. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm not naming anyone individually. I just don't know if that's a real strong group of twos. That's what they ran today in fastball, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what I have noted. I have to go through and look at all these notes. What I do is I take film, I take footage, and I bring it back home, and then I kind of jot down what I can. And the problem with that is sometimes you can't see their numbers because their jerseys curl up, and it curls up on their number, and you're like, shh, who is this? Who are you? But I think that's right. I know I saw 58 at center, and 58 is Don. Yeah, Tim Don, who's also 6'2", 315 pounds. Back in the day, that was a prototypical center. built lower than the guard and the tackles, a little bit lower, right? He kind of anchored the offensive line. They were typically like 6'2", 6'3". Now they're all monsters. Everyone's 6'5". I shouldn't say everyone, but you know what I mean. Injuries, let's I have that noted as well. They are – I don't want to say piling up, but it feels like that's the right thing. That feels like the right way to put it. Who we know is missing: Zuri Madison, Jaden Allen, Justin Long. We've known those names. Juju Pope, he's missed all of camp. Patrick Kudus has missed 5 days. He's missed 5 days. I'm gonna guess that Sam's gonna be asked that tomorrow. Jukic has missed 5. I think it's 5. I think I have it at 5. I'm pretty sure it's 5. If it's not 5, it's 4 days. Andrew Armstrong, I didn't see him today. J.M. Singletary, I didn't see him today. Marquise Robinson, and there's another one. There's at least 2 more that I don't have on my list, but I know they're missing. They're missing at least 1 or 2 more. Who was it? John Hill. That was the other one. John Hill. I think John Hill, this is the first time I haven't seen him out there. So these injuries are starting to – I don't know another way of putting it. I mean, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 so far. Now, Jaquindon Jackson, Blackstock came back. Blackstock has been missing. He missed, I want to say 3 days. And then Jaquindon Jackson, I want to say he only missed a day. No. I'm sorry. Blackstock missed 1 day. I have that noted wrong. I'm sorry. I have that noted wrong. That's 1 day. He missed 1 day. Someone at practice today said they heard that there was some nonsense around Blackstock. I'm not going to get into it. I can just tell you there were a couple of people on the sidelines kind of giggling about it, but no, as far as I know, no one's holding out for NIL. I don't know where that's coming from. No, as far as I know, that is not a thing that's happening. If it is, I don't know. Blackstock, I think he's a pretty good player. Not laughing at him. Just it's a little, we're not talking about NFL contracts and guys holding out, through their camps. I'm not saying it's impossible, and you probably will see players start to hold out for NIL. But as far as I know about Blackstock, no, I don't think that's what's happening. I don't know where this is coming from. I started to ask Discord today, but I thought, I forgot about it. But I have it noted with the LOL next to my notes. Everyone got a pretty good giggle out of that. But I don't know where that came from. But Keyshawn Blackstock he was back. He did return. And Jaquindon Jackson also returned. They had apparently they had who was it? Someone working with the wideouts today. Dominion was working with the wideouts apparently. I didn't know that. I must have missed that. Stuff happens, especially when you're one guy and you're down here trying to film this guy or you're down here trying to film this group. Things just kind of slip through the cracks a little bit. So, yeah. Have you noticed any major – this is a really good question. This is from Caden Jowers. Have you noticed any major differences in Petrino practice versus Enos? More yelling. More just snap the blankety-blank ball. Definitely more of that. More swear words. Guys respond to him. He's right there in the mix. Not that Enos or Kendall Briles wasn't, but he just seems – now, Enos was really involved with the quarterbacks. I don't know if you guys remember. I uploaded a lot of that footage of him working. He was very hands-on with the quarterbacks. Again, at the end of the day, I just don't think that was a good marriage between Enos and KJ and everything that was happening with that offense. It was never a good fit. But Enos does deserve a lot of the blame, and so does Sam for bringing Enos on and so on and so forth. But And KJ did not progress in that offense. And we've seen what he could do in the veer and shoot, what he could do with Kendall, and then you brought in Enos, and it just square peg, round hole, right? But no, I it's hard to say any one thing. You know, I don't know. Again, we've only got spring camp and 7 days of fall camp under our belts, right? Like, it seems to be about the same with more swear words, you know? Like, he is hands-on with his quarterbacks. He instructs people. And something I don't know that I saw Enos or Kendall Briles do, he'll go and talk to a receiver as they're coming back from whatever their drill was, and he'll kind of, not very often, right? It's rare, and he'll coach them up. He got on to somebody. Was it Wilson? Who was it? It's the video where you saw Armstrong, or you heard Armstrong kind of getting upset, right? And Armstrong, I loved it, baby. I loved hearing Armstrong speak up and be a little vocal. The coaches love it too, and the media eats that up. But I love it because it just shows leadership. I love that about Armstrong. But he's kind of, you know, yelling at that other receiver. And Bobby Petrino, after kind of chewing on him and telling him, no, get out. If you listen to the video, Pittman says, no, get out, get out. You think Bobby's uber pissed at this guy, and I think it was Wilson. Yeah, it was Jaden Wilson. It was. Yeah. After that, Wilson wanted to get back up. He got in trouble because he didn't finish his route. He didn't finish all the way through. He just kind of caught the ball, turned around, and walked back to the line of scrimmage, or walked back to the group. After Petrino kind of yelled at him, you see Petrino, and I don't know how much time is left during this period. You see him walk over there, and he's talking with him. I mean, he's coaching him. I don't know that I've seen him do that a lot, where he chews somebody's ass, and then he goes over there and he kind of like he's coaching him, he's talking to him. And after that, I think Wilson, as far as I can recall, was fine. But that was something worth. I mean, it was pretty cool. Oh, we got a super chat. Cade says, I saw KK Robinson in Pawn Shop in Little Rock today. All right. Appreciate the super chat, Cade. Thanks, man. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I don't have. It'd be nice if I had a camera guy that just sat back and filmed all of practice, right? That way I could really like take it all in. It's hard to say that it's much different, but I will say there's more swear words, and Bobby he jogs. I mean, the guy's in his 60s. He'll jog down. If it's the end of a period, he jogs with his players. He's still got the fire in his belly. It may not be the same as it was over a decade ago, but he's still got it. He wants to win. He wants his offense to make him look good, right? Josh Farmer says, big and fast. Let's see. I'm trying to read. Is there a player we aren't talking about that you think could have a breakout year? Just usual suspects. I don't know. That's a good question. I want to say, as much as I don't know. I want to say at tight end, Varkey's Gums. Now, he's not as involved as he was like he was during spring camp. He's not being targeted as often. You know, I could be wrong, but I watch him in one-on-ones. I watch him with the tight end groups, what little I've watched with the tight ends. I still think that he may not be the fastest. He's still very athletic. He catches about everything. Had a great spring camp. I don't know that his fall camp has been as good as his spring camp, but again, we're only 7 days in. Look at that. We're at 51 minutes. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? My kids are probably like clawing at the door, like, go get food. I do it every time. It's like a jinx. What I should say is we're going to go over an hour, and then I won't go over an hour. But Varkey's Gums is someone worth keeping an eye on. Now, issue here is that we've got to battle for tight end number 2, right, with Ty Washington and him. And, of course, Luke Hasz is already your starter. So it's tough to say. I almost feel like, no, you're better off with those guys, don't get me wrong. But if he was the only tight end, like if he was the guy that we knew it was his job to lose, I think he would have a monster year. He's always open on those underneath routes. He catches everything. He matches up well, especially if a linebacker's covering him, or if a safety's playing off the ball but they're playing low coverage. He's going to get open, similar to how, remember Luke Hasz, I kept telling you guys last year, man, he's just always open. He's always wide open. No one's paying any attention to him. And look what he did up until he got injured last year. I think I saw he made some award list for like comeback player of the year. You're damn right. If he has a year, the question is who's tight end number 2. Another one, I have to look at my Davion Dozier. Yeah, Davion Dozier might be someone to keep an eye on defense. That's the question, right? And I don't have an answer for you there. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. Ask me again. Remind me again in a couple of weeks, right? Good evening, Ty. What's up, Unbiased Brim? How you doing, man? We're just wrapping it up. Heard Sam mention finding out who QB2 and QB3 is. How has Singleton looked? Singleton had a really good day. Singleton looked really good. Now, and this is another note. Again, we're talking about the 7 days that we've had at fall camp. They had Blake Boda actually run with the 3s in fastball with Malachi at 2 and Green at the 1, of course, QB1. Kind of makes you wonder, is there something going on there? Not really, because in the next day, today, we saw Jackson back at the 3 spot. But it was interesting to see Boda at least get those shots. And maybe that could have been just Bobby trying to, get Blake to dip his toe in, you know what I mean? Get the temperature of the water. That might have been what that was. But Malachi has looked the part. I mean, he's looked the part. However, the question is, how far behind is he really to Green? And is it a good thing? Is it more good that Green has such a – I mean, it's his job. He's not going to lose it. It's his job. That's Bobby's guy. How tight is the leash with Green? And does that mean that Malachi is going to be the next guy up? Or is it maybe a bad thing that we've got this gap and that's really the drop-off, right, behind Green? We just don't know until we see him go full, until we see live action. But what I've seen, I've liked. I thought he looked good today. I thought there were times during spring camp, my God, he might actually push Green. And then he would have he'd follow that up with some not so great days after that, right? So it's a mixed bag until we get there. But I will say Malachi has had good days so far through fall camp. It's not all been average or just or bad. I don't think he's had a bad day necessarily. I don't know if any quarterback has had actually a bad day. KJ's had a couple of times where he's gotten chewed out, at least once for sure, by Bobby for taking too long to snap the ball. Oh, man. All right, that is going to do it. To everybody on ASN who's watching this, I appreciate you. I know we're going to grow an audience there. I know they've got a lot of followers, but we got to grow an audience there. We got to get people to watch these. So make sure you're liking and sharing. Come get in on this, right? Come get in on it, baby. Come be a part of the Tusk Talk with Ty community. We've got a Discord. We've got Patreon. We give away cards. By the way, before we go, hey, don't run off yet. I got something to show you if you haven't seen it yet. These are our month of August cards, okay? I'm giving away 6 cards to Patreon supporters. You've got a shot at getting one of these cards. Here's pull up my – here we go. Here's – Bill Montgomery, right? That's for if you're a $4, if you're a green name in our Tusk Talk with Ty Discord, if you're $4 a month, you've got a shot. I think it's 1 in, I don't know what the number is. It's like 1 in maybe like 40. I could be wrong. Dietrich Wise, this is a gorgeous card. Dietrich Wise, I guess it's his just draft card, right? Well, he had a little splash at New England. Really good Razorback. Unfortunately, we never really got to see him at his full potential. I think he could have been great. Legendary status. This is awesome. I'm excited about this. Darren McFadden. That is game-worn piece of cloth in there, right there. Now, it's not autographed, but that's just too damn cool of a card. It is such an awesome card for any Arkansas fan. That's awesome. And then we did a Jamal Anderson non-autographed card recently. Here's an autographed chrome or foil, whatever you want to call it, right there. It's Jamal Anderson. Matt Jones autographed, right? Look at that. These are legendary status. You got a 1 in like 20-something chance of winning. But here's the thing. We got 4 separate spins. There can't be the same winner can't win all 4. If you win one, then it's on to the next guy, right? So you're taking off if you win, but you have a shot. Here's the last card. Look at that. Tyler Wilson. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a badge or a shield. It says Valiant, so I'm assuming that's a shield. It says Honor Guard. You have received an autographed insert card, whatever. There you go, autographed Tyler Wilson. Look at how pretty. So that's month of August. If you sign up and you become a Legendary Status member, or if you're a current existing Legendary Status member, you got a shot at winning one of those bad boys, one of those 4 cards. So we're going to have more winners for the month of August to celebrate the football season is here, baby. Fall camp, a battle of attrition, says Jumpmaster Scott. You are right. Captain Mike, how you doing, man? Would like to see Braylon Russell get a bunch of touches this year, says Farmer. Yeah, maybe he will. He's run with the 2s and the 3s. He's kind of been everywhere. There's some days he looks a little slow. You know, I mean, God, he's 250 pounds. But and then you actually see him full speed. He could be special, you know. So, all right, that is it. I got to go, guys. I can't be here more than 30 or 40 minutes. Yeah, right. All right, I'll be back. I don't know if we're going to do a reaction to the scrimmage tomorrow. If I were there, if we had access to it, I definitely would be. But I don't know if we will or not. It might be a Patreon thing. I don't know yet. But like a Patreon live, or it could just – maybe I'll go live. I don't know. It depends on what information we get from Sam. But I will I could be back this week. If not, I'll see you guys next week. But I'm assuming I've got another live in me. I don't know. It could be next week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. On your way out, like, share, subscribe. Shout out to the sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best. Free estimates. Hey, come get in on it. 501-244-3667. And Insurance Max. They cover all 4 corners of our wonderful state. Business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement. They shop the best rates for you. Again, that's Insurance Max, covering the fine state of Arkansas. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Whenever that is, be here. I'll see you.